Vegan Food for Thought here, and today's video is about my son. I normally don't use him in my videos very often. I did want to post what he eats in a day, and anyways, that kind of has changed recently. For me, anyways, my most important thing is that my son is healthy and that he, that I provide him vegan food, and enough food, and that I give him the nutrients that he needs to be healthy and to feel good. And recently, I've separated from my husband, and we're still in the middle of a divorce, but he started to feed my son meat and eggs, and at least he hasn't been feeding him dairy, because I know dairy is that was terrible for me. That was I spent my whole childhood suffering from eating dairy, from a lactose intolerance and being forced to eat this stuff and just not getting the nutrients that I needed as a child. And that was one of the reasons why I became vegan in the first place, was to provide my son, a healthy foundation for his life to where he can be happy and healthy. And that's just always been one of my most important, one of my main goals. So I don't know. I definitely feel like my ex he's doing this to get back at me, and he's harming his son in the process, because even, it was just 2 years ago, we used to laugh when people would ask us, me and my husband, what we did for protein or how we ate so many bananas, because it just seemed ridiculous, and we knew that we were getting enough protein. And now my ex-husband is showing up, he's asking me if he thinks that my son is getting enough protein, and it is, once again, it's ridiculous, because I track what I eat on Chronometer and my son, and we have never in a day in our lives since eating vegan not gotten enough protein. And it's virtually impossible if we're eating food to not get enough. And so it's very counterintuitive, and I just want to encourage you guys out there to educate yourselves, and to educate children, share this information with anybody you can. But to me, it feels very, very important that kids understand where food comes from, and that it's healthier to eat fruits and vegetables than it is to eat meat and dairy and eggs. And I think that most people understand that, but whether or not they do that in their lives is a different story. So all I can really do is just make sure that I set a good example for my son, and I definitely do not provide eggs or meat for him in my household. And I refuse to, that stuff just is not a part of my life and will not be. And I've even gone as far as getting rid of, my leather boots and things. Some items, some down jackets I still do have, but once I can actually replace those, I definitely will, because I do feel guilty knowing that, animals were harmed in the process of making these items just to keep me warm, and it's not something that I want to contribute to anymore. And I feel it's really, really important to share that with people, and to follow that, to live that and live by example. And the most important part is that the meat and dairy industry is just destroying the planet, with deforestation, with all of the emissions, all of the pollution that it causes. It's not sustainable, and it's not something that healthy human beings can grow off of. And the planet, it can't continue on this way anyways. So I really, really will do my best to provide, for my son what I can, but it's not a sustainable way to live, to eat meat. And I know there are people out there that have this idea that, oh, well, those happy cows over there are fine, and there are ways to, even today at the store I saw, cage-free, farm-raised eggs or whatever, and I mean, those are just lies that are printed on there. Most of the poultry, the chickens that are laying eggs just have a little bit of extra space, or they see the sunshine for, maybe out of a window, and they call that something like farm raised. And this stuff is just, even if we're buying from the nicest hatchery or from like the best little farm, they still are killing off those male chicks because they don't need them in the egg industry. They're still grinding male chicks up alive just to make eggs. And that alone is a concern of mine. But just even if we aren't concerned about the suffering of other animals, it still does not change the fact that eating eggs and dairy and meat, it all has cholesterol and really, really bad bacteria and just all this stuff that is not a normal part of a healthy human diet. And so I really, I'm not going to forget this stuff. And I don't know if my son's going to grow up knowing this message, or if he's going to grow up knowing what his father teaches him, but that's for him to determine, and all I can do is provide what I know for him and just show him a good example. So anyways, that's what I'm going to continue to do, and I definitely am upset about this, but I'm not going to let it stop me, and it's not going to change how I feel about all this stuff. So yeah. I'll link some videos below if you want to show some videos to your kids that are, family friendly. There are a lot of really good documentaries out there that can help teach people in a way that's happy and healthy, and that doesn't show the negative side of factory farming. Although if they want to see that stuff, why should we shield them from that stuff? The TV is a lot more violent nowadays, just with like, all these awful like CSI shows and things that are on the TV, and even commercials and stuff are just all bad these days. But anyways, that's another topic for another day. But yeah, so I'll link some videos down below, and